Welcome back, everybody. I'm Kaylee Carvalho, and before this episode begins, I want you to understand something. Bullying is rarely loud enough for adults to notice right away. It happens in moments, in looks, in whispers, and in small actions that repeat until a child no longer feels safe in school. By the time a child feels the courage to speak up, they've often already been carrying fear for weeks, months, and in worst cases, longer than that. Up until now, in this series, Falling Through the Cracks, you've heard stories from the outside, from the parents advocating, the endless meetings with no results, and systems failing to respond. But this episode is different. Today you are hearing from the person who lived it. This episode shares the experience of a student navigating fear, confusion, and isolation inside of a place that was supposed to feel safe for them. The story is raw, honest, and very personal. The story is shared with permission, and all identifying details have been removed. This may be uncomfortable to listen to, but that discomfort that you feel is necessary because understanding what bullying really feels like is a step toward understanding why accountability really matters. This is episode 4 of Falling Through the Cracks, and this is the voice behind the story. The story comes from somebody who reached out to me on Facebook through a local Facebook group called Freetown Uncensored. Hi there. I saw your post on Freetown Uncensored and I wanted to give you a little bit of my story since you were asking for it, and I thought that I could give you a first-hand experience since I was a student who recently graduated. I was mistreated by the Freetown Lakeville School District my entire childhood. I was bullied relentlessly for being undiagnosed autistic and had severe ADHD. The staff knew something was wrong, but refused to acknowledge or to help me. All they did was stick me in an extra help math class until 3rd grade, and never even told my mom that I was missing a whole hour of school for it. They had me in that special ed class for 3 years, and my mom had no idea. I was then bullied and repeatedly assaulted on school grounds in intermediate school and in middle school by people who were supposed to be my friends just for being queer. I was called slurs, hit, dragged, beat, etc. The paras at recess saw it, but refused to say anything since we were just playing. It got to the point where I had to be pulled from school. I had attempted to take my own life multiple times because of the repeated mistreatment and mental torture. My mom couldn't handle seeing me suffer anymore. I ended up being homeschooled from 7th to 11th grade and tried to go back for my junior year. It was a huge fail. My 504 plan was ignored, and I was held to the same standards as every other student when they knew I couldn't handle it, and pressured me when I refused. I left school early that year and went back for my senior year. It was a little bit better, but I spent every day, all day, in the SEL room, which is the Social Emotional Learning Room. I couldn't go to lunch with everyone else since I was still getting bullied by my peers, but I wasn't allowed to eat anywhere since they locked all the students out of the SEL room during that period. So I could not have lunch most of the time. I'd hide in corners of the hall or in the rotunda so no one could see me. I couldn't attend most after-school activities since the people who attacked me attended. And when I brought up how one of the students sexually assaulted me years ago on school grounds, they said they couldn't do anything since it was so long ago. I graduated with horrible mental health problems and a lack of a proper education, all thanks to the Freetown Lakeville Regional School System. I'm sorry for sending this message so late at night. I've been trying to write it all afternoon, but I couldn't bring myself to do it until now. Thank you for reading. This story began with small moments that went unnoticed, until the impact became impossible to ignore. When children feel unheard, the damage doesn't just stay at school. It follows them at home, into their confidence, and into their learning. Their sense of safety in the world is lost. We need systems that respond. We need adults who listen fully. And we need schools willing to ask not just, did we follow procedure, but does this child feel safe? If this story stayed with you, do not just move on. Talk about it. Ask your schools how bullying reports are handled in practice and not just on paper. And if you or your child have lived through something similar, you are not alone. You can reach out privately. Stories are shared only with your permission, and identities are always protected. The more we speak up, the harder these experiences become to ignore. We need to continue to protect our children.